ourselves in the presence of our Lord for our invocation, followed by our national anthem and Toastmaster promise.
Our ever-loving Father, the core of every reason, the source of truth. You who made the earth and the heavens are the ultimate goal of every knowledge seekers, the infinite wisdom, the cause of all that is good. We are truly grateful for this opportunity to gather together as a community despite the challenges we face each day. Yet you remained and gave us strength to carry on the responsibilities of bearing intelligence and using them for better purposes. We now humbly ask you to join us in our endeavor to explore the wonders of life in the world for knowledge's sake, that in whatever we learn today, we become more
The Toastmasters Promise. As a member of Toastmasters International in my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my speech and leadership projects to the best of my ability, basing them on Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities.
You went back to bed, but you already ate.
So now, may we call on the Division Director, Julius Cruz, for a call to order.
Okay, we can go.
Good morning, everyone, fellow speech titans. By the power vested on me by Toastmasters International, as Director of Division K under District 75, I now proclaim our learning event today as officially open. Back to you, TMX.
Thank you very much, Julius. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters, please welcome our Toastmaster of the Day from the Division K champion and from the Dasmariñas City Toastmaster Club, distinguished Toastmaster Gramed Borja.
Good morning, everyone! How are you? Welcome to the Clash of the Speech Titans. This learning event is brought to you by Toastmasters International Division K Area 5 of District 75 the Philippines. Toastmasters International is a US headquartered nonprofit educational organization that operates worldwide to promote communication, public speaking, and leadership. Since 1924, the organization has been empowering people worldwide to conquer their fear of public speaking. Each year, thousands of Toastmasters representing over 100 countries battle for the world champion of public speaking. For this Toastmasters program year 2021-2022, the finals for District 75 Philippines will be on April 30, 2022, and for Division K or the Calabarzon area will be on March 26, 2022. So how are you going to prepare for the speech contest? Are you ready to battle it out and learn from the speech titans of Division K? To formally welcome everyone, let us give a warm round of applause to our incumbent Division K Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Julius Cruz.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ahmed, for that energetic introduction. It is possible to communicate but not connect with the audience. This is the most powerful morsel of truth that I was able to extract from the book of John C. Maxwell on Everyone Communicates, but only a few connect. You see, a good number of us love to communicate, and I'm one of them. But the question is, do we communicate that connects with the audience in a way that adds value to them? As we get ready to answer this question, let me welcome you all to our District 75 Division K learning event on the Clash of the Speech Titans. This is not a clash of skills, ideas, and experience that try to outdo one another. Rather, this is a sharing of learning points coming down from the wealth of experience of the speakers. This is so that as these shared points are made to clash, they fuse, they synergize, and form into one humongous fortress of practical communication tips and tricks. These tips and tricks then will form part of our armory that will equip us to deliver speeches and evaluations that connect, that resonate, and add value to the audience and speakers themselves. The winning comes as a natural effect of connecting and adding value to the audience. So sit back, relax, and engage with fun as together we get ready to continuously grow to be speech titans that connect, resonate, and add value to our audience. Let the clash begin. Back to you, TM Ramed.
And so we begin. Always remember what our Division K director told us. You need to connect, you need to resonate, and of course, you need to give value to your customers. Wow, a lot of tips just during the welcome remarks. For our program, this morning, we would like to remind everyone of our virtual etiquette. Mute your audio unless it is your turn to speak. Turn on your video if your connections permits, and use the provided virtual background by our event organizers. We encourage all of you to actively engage by using the emoticon icons to cheer and empower everyone in this event. Rename yourselves using the naming convention that is now shown in the chat box. For role takers, a troll name and of course your name. For members, please write the division and area and your name, where you belong. And of course, for our dear guest who is with us this morning, please write guest and of course underscore your name. And now, are you ready? Probably you're asking, why do we need to converge together and learn from the speech titans? Well, there's only one reason. Division K's mission is to empower everyone, not only to become good public speakers, but of course, to help others as well, to become more empowered, and of course, ready to snatch that championship trophy very soon. For our program this morning, it is divided into 3 segments. The part 1 is called the Armory. During the Armory, our speech titans will shed light on some important topics in preparing for a speech contest. And the next part 2, is the Arena. It's time to experience the actual battle. And of course, it's also an opportunity to nurture each other and empower each other. For part 3, it's the clash. We are going to have a panel discussion with our speech titans, and it's time to hear also from our audience some of your buzzing questions. During the registration, we ask you some important questions that you would want to throw out during the actual panel, and we have collected it all. However, if you have other questions, please feel free to communicate it in the chat box or probably send it to me by a personal message. So are you ready? Can I see some raise of hand or on the chat box? Are you all ready? Type on the chat box, yes. Are you all ready for the clash? Type yes. Okay. So from Toastmaster Jules, Raquel, Ramnel, Division K, PQD, BPTMC, K5 Rika. How about the others? Are you all ready to learn? Okay. From Guest Francis. Of course, we also have from K1, Area Director Wally Peña, Game Master. Okay, Larry, Maybelline, K5. Oh, I think we are all ready. Welcome to part 1, the Armory. Just a reminder for our speech titan, for our timing requirements, the green virtual signal will be flashed on screen by TM Nathan at 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 30 seconds for yellow, and red when you reach the time requirement, which is 5 minutes. And it's time to wrap up your speech. We have a lot of things to discuss. And of course, for the audience, use your reaction button if you do agree with what our speech titans is sharing. And now to kick off the Armory. An electrical engineer, entrepreneur, faculty of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, member of the district training team, an international speech District 75 champion from 2018 and of course 2019, a semi-finalist from World Champion of Public Speaking in 2018 and 2019. To discuss about speech writing content and organization, about international speech, please welcome distinguished Toastmaster, Neb Perez. DTM Neb, take it away.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ahmed, and welcome guests. So I am the first one to share my armory, and I would like to share my screen. Although this 5 to 7 minutes is really short, I will try to put in the best I can. Now, I'd like to show of hands or any expression, a thumbs up. Who among you here are interested to join in the international speech contest? Not just for Division K, but for our district. I know there are plenty who are interested, but the common question is, what do I write? I don't have a topic to talk about, and that is the concern for a lot of speakers, for a lot of contestants. And this is something, my very first slide that I'd like to share is basically this. Most of the people who want to join Toastmasters International Speech Contest has a problem. I don't have a world-class speech yet. I can't talk of a topic. Here is something I learned a very long time ago from the 2001 World Champion. Is that a world-class speech is not written. It is rewritten. Whatever you decide to create a speech, your first iteration, your first creation of your speech is 100% not world-class. And that might be harsh, but it actually, when you really think about it, it becomes a relief that maybe right now you're writing a speech and maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it's not that good yet, but it's okay because world-class speeches are never written. It is rewritten. You have to have it evaluated several times before you are able to say that, hey, my speech is now really good and it can be world-class, a world-class speech. As a personal story, that the 2 years that I won in the District 75 International Speech Contest, whether you believe it or not, I lost at the area contest. I was second place on both area contests in 2018 and 2019. Fortunately, two speakers moved from area to division. Why? Because my speeches then weren't good enough to win the area level competition. However, rewriting from area contest to division contest was enough to place it as the number one for the division and eventually at the district level speech. My next point in writing a speech, and this is now the question for a lot of speakers, what topic do I talk about? Right? What topic do I talk about? When I first started in Toastmasters and competing, that was wow, that was from 2010 to 2016. I have been competing for about 8 years already before I even won. When I think of a speech, I look at a life-changing story, a great story. Or when I listen to a speech that has won district, I say now, uh, they have an advantage. They have a really good story. What story do I have? So my question is, I'm looking for a story in my life that seems really interesting, and then I try to talk about it. Okay. And in fact, this is a bit of an advice for beginner speakers. If you have a really good story in mind, start with that. However, when I got better and got more mentoring from other speakers, I learned that starting with a story is actually the wrong move. You may have a very interesting story that you have already experienced and you want to talk about, but more often than not, that story is going to be a barrier than an asset. So when you create your speech, don't think of stories immediately. The proper process of creating your speech is this. First, start with your message. What do you want to share with the people around you? And when you do that, it has to be distilled to a very clear point, a single sentence message that it can be mentioned in just 7 words. Start with your message with that. And then look back in your life, look for stories. So most people, when they start joining international speech contests, they start with a story. But you have to start with a message, then look for stories. And then finally, this is what I mentioned earlier, kill your darlings. This will be the hardest for you to do. You have an interesting story and you really want to share it, but it doesn't work with your message. You have to kill your darlings. Even though you're in love with that portion of the speech, if it doesn't add to your message, you have to remove it from your speech. Because even though it is really valuable for you, you hold it deep in your heart. If it doesn't work, it will only confuse your message. Then finally, force 3 points. What story do I talk about? What message do I talk about? It's very simple. What do others seek advice from you? What do you talk about often? And it changes, of course, every single year. Your theme changes. But when it does, what do you talk about? What do all others seek advice from you? Because that is something in your core. And then here is a key. Your story does not need to be life-changing. Uh, but you have to deliver it as if it changed your life. All right? Your story doesn't need to be life-changing. It could be changing a tire, but deliver it in such a way that it changed your life. And then finally, what format? And I have this a very short portion. Whether you believe it or not, the most efficient format in the International Speech Contest is something we practice in table topics. You simply tell a story, explain the message near the last 2 minutes of your speech, and then what can the audience gain in the last minute of your speech? And that is the most effective method. There are, of course, plenty more. This is an 1 hour, 2 hour workshop, but I tried to compress this in 5 to 7 minutes, and I know I am over time right now, but there will be a question and answer portion later in this program. Thank you, Toastmaster Ahmed.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Nev. That was quick. 5 minutes gone by, and yet there are still so many things that needs to be discussed, and that will be fleshed out during the clash, which is the third segment of our program this morning. And now, moving forward, probably I just want to crystallize what was mentioned by distinguished Toastmaster Nev, and this is a revelation. And one key message is that, according to him, you should not start with your story. You need to start with your message and then distill it. And then when you purify it, and that's where you harp on your message. And then if you need to kill your darlings, then you really need to kill one to get your message across. Moving forward for our next speaker. Right now, I just want to have a quick check. I think our next speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Rafik, is about to join us. So we are moving forward with our third speaker. Our third speaker is a quality management professional in the electronics manufacturing industry, a former college instructor in University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and Ateneo de Manila University, a certified coach, speaker, teacher, and trainer of the Jan Maxwell Training Program, our incumbent Division K director, a table topic speech champion in the division and area level from 2018 to 2020, 3 years training. And of course, a table topic speech first runner-up at the district level in 2019 and 2020. Fellow Toastmasters, our dear guests, I admire this person because he do walk the talk. Please welcome Division K Director, Julius Cruz.
Thank you very much, TM Ramed, for that generous introduction. Allow me to quickly share my screen. And let's get ready to rumble, rock and roll. So this is supposedly a 30-minute presentation, but I compressed it to 5 minutes to satisfy the time requirement. So the golden question that we intend to answer through this 5-minute learning event is, how do we consistently, with emphasis on the word consistently, win in table topics contests? To answer that question, we are likewise guided by 3 powerful questions as suggested by the leadership expert, Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek would always say, start with the why, the how and the what will follow. So first things first, big picture question. What is your why in joining the table topics contest? Of course, you'd want to win, but there must be a deeper why, something that goes deeper than simply the medals and the trophy. I would highly encourage that we have as our why primarily to add value to our listeners, because doing so, the winning will follow as a result. And that is the key to consistently win in table topics. Prioritize the adding of value to the audience. The winning will come as a result. After the why, next question is how. Here comes the fundamentals, what we call the listening, thinking, and speaking. Or some even say listening, thinking, organizing, and speaking. Then after the why, which is followed by the how, then the what. The what is, so what now? You have delivered your message impeccably. What do you expect next? So the true measure of a speech that really adds value to the audience is something that will elicit audience response through an action or through a point of reflection. So let's keep the ball rolling. Let's dissect these 3 primary questions. First, on the why. It must once again be very clear to you that your why is primarily to add value to the listeners. The winning, once again, will follow as a result. And how do you put traction into this why? For this why, keep in mind that for every table topic speech contest, the challenge is to transform a question, a quote, or an illustration into an inspiration. Once again, transform a question, a quote, or an illustration to an inspiration. And the foundation on which this rests, since we are also aiming to win a speech contest, is to be very mindful of the judges' criteria. If you look at the criteria of judging in a table topics contest, content is king. Let me say that again. Content is king. That's why it's very important that what you say is something of value, is something that is substantial. So that answers first the traction question on why, on how can we put meat into the why. So after the why comes the how, all right? And the how, here comes the play of the listening, thinking, and speaking skills. First, in the listening, make sure that when the talking point, the question, or the quote is shared, you listen actively and 100% focus with your full attention. Because I can clearly remember in the district finals in Cebu, the talking point was a quote with two parts. But I was so excited, I was so gung-ho to deliver my piece that I only focused on the first part of the talking point, and I failed to expound on the second part. That's why it's very important to listen actively with 100% focus and to pause. Pause after you hear the talking point and allow the talking point, the question, or the quote to marinate your mind so that you can fully expound on this talking point. Okay. Now, in the thinking, the moment you hear the talking point, the question, or the quote, ask yourself, what is that one key message that I would want the audience to resonate with? Here comes the power of one. The most powerful table topic speech is one that leaves the power of one message to the audience. Do not convolute your speech with so many ideas. Just stick to one powerful idea and expand on that. And even before you start, as Stephen Covey would say, begin with the end in mind. What is that one key message that you would want the audience to resonate with? And this will be supported by the fundamentals of having the right content once again, clear organization, and impeccable delivery. Now, as you think of this one key message, have a quick scan of the speech pattern that you're most comfortable with. The prep pattern is my all-time favorite. I find it very useful. And most of the times in contests, I use the prep pattern. But you are not limited to that pattern. Whatever pattern you are most comfortable with, use that pattern to expand your one key message. After the how, then goes the what, the audience response. In table topics, we are only given 2 minutes. That's why we are recommended to start with a hook and with a bang. Let me say that again. Start with a hook and with a bang. And the best way to end with a bang is to end with a call to action. So this is where the rubber hits the road. You have sent your message to the audience. Now the question is, what do you want your audience to do with respect to your message? That's why ending with a call to action is one powerful way of allowing your message to have traction in the minds and hearts of the audience. So with that, I believe you have other questions. Perhaps you'll be asking me, what about the preparation? How do you prepare and when do you start to prepare? More of these questions will be answered during the Q&A. So my call to action for you is to keep this question in mind and make sure to ask me that question during the Q&A portion. And as I end my 5-minute presentation, keep in mind always, as Carl W. Buchner would say, and let me zoom into this quote, people may forget what you say, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Deliver your table topic speech in a way that resonates and adds value to the audience and make them feel like $1 million. Thank you very much. Back to you, PM Rabed.
Amazing! Let's give a warm round of applause to Director Julius. That was an amazing presentation. So just a quick recap on what was mentioned by our Division K director. It is very important to probably answer the following questions. What is your why? Which is what is the reason, the value that you're putting into your audience, the how. You need to listen intently to the question, because if you're so giggly on or probably so passionate answering the question immediately, then chances are you might miss some of the salient points of the question. And of course, what? What is your intended response from your audience? And another thing is content is king. This is very important. Remember that the criteria for table topics is 70% content and then 30% form. Even if you have a beautiful opening and you have a banging conclusion and yet you don't have enough content, then chances are you will fall below the scoring line. And you need to listen attentively. You need to make a quick pause before you answer the question. Stick to one powerful idea. Don't convolute everything. And, I want to say so many things. From your mind, edit it out and then spew out of your mouth. Prep, point, respond, example, point. This is one of the classic example or the classic strategy that Director Julius is always using. Start with the hook, probably a Manny Pacquiao hook, and end it with a MAA bang or a call to action to your audience. Amazing. First speaker, wow. Second speaker, wow. This is really a Titan event. Now moving forward for our third speaker of our armory, please welcome. I'm still taking a cue if one of our speakers is ready, but now I think we will move on to the rose, the only rose among the thorns. An international speech champion from Division K in 2020 and 2021. An evaluation speech champion also on the same in Division K for 2021, 2020-2021. An international speech finalist in District 75 last year, a best-selling author. An English trainer for content, writing and copywriting, a former college instructor on history and social sciences, a seasoned developmental editor to shed light on acing the evaluation speech and becoming a winner. Please welcome from Imus Magayway Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Robbie Lorenzo.
Thank you so much to our Toastmaster of the day. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, my favorite part in a Toastmasters meeting is the evaluation portion. We evaluate everything in the meeting. The timeliness, the theme, were the members lively, was the meeting warm, is what we're doing helpful in any way? It's the only way we're going to grow. Of course, there's such a thing as self-evaluation, but I think being evaluated by another person is more effective because there will always be things about us that we cannot see unless it's pointed out to us. Now, for a lot of people, they don't like being evaluated on because they don't like to hear what they did wrong. But if done properly, it can be the best thing they'll ever hear. It's an opportunity for them to get better, to know what they can do better next time. And the challenge among us is for us to, deliver that evaluation without saying you were wrong. I remember when we were having our meetings for this event, we were just in the planning stage and someone was supposed to deliver a speech. And then he said, this speech is still in the works. I'd appreciate a lot of comments and feedback. And in the event, we were supposed to comment on his speech. I think about it was 3 or 4 of us, not just me. But instead of being worried, he actually said, nice, I'd have a lot of feedback. Now, for the regular speaker, I understand one feedback is enough. But if you're competing in a contest, or let's say you've already won club level and you're now competing for the area level, you want as many pieces of advice as you can. And being evaluated by a lot of people, experts, non-experts, it would be a gift rather than a curse. Now, as for what to focus on in an evaluation of, let's say you're going to go to the contest already or compete in a contest already, I focus on 3 things. First is the content. What is the speaker's content? What was the speech all about? Even when the objective is not stated, and in contests, the objective of the speaker is definitely not going to be stated. So it is up to the speaker, it is up to the evaluator in a contest to understand what is the objective of the speaker. Now, if you were able to correctly state the objective, that would be great because it tells you, or it tells the audience that you are actively listening. Now, as for the second, so you have content. Second is structure. How did the speaker say what he was going to say? What about the introduction, the body, the ending? Was the introduction, did the introduction have a good hook? Was the body all thematic, and did it lead to one big message? And is the ending something that you will never forget? How did it conclude? How did the speech conclude? And the third one that I focus on is the delivery. So you have content, structure, and then delivery. Delivery is, what about the gestures? Did he show any gestures? Was it part of the whole? What about his vocal variety? Was his delivery effective? Were you moved? Do you think the audience was moved? And I also focus on other things. Was the speaker over time? What about his framing? Because we're online now, we're in the online platform. So, well, if we were outside, if we were face to face, I would be able to see everything about him. But since we're online, I also have to focus the framing, the background, even his outfit. Did he use any props whatsoever? Now, there are actually a lot of things that we can observe. Now, that said, here are some nuggets of learning that I picked up from competing and winning in the evaluation contest last year. Number one is find the balance between pointing out the great things that he did and showing him what he can improve on. Now, take note. I didn't say what he did wrong. I said what he can improve on. But they're one and the same. What he can improve on, what he did wrong. No, they're actually different. Take a look at this. It's just wordplay, but it totally changes the focus. The former focuses on the word wrong, what you did wrong, while the latter focuses on the word improve, what you can improve on, which is not necessarily wrong. Second is, there will always be something that the speaker can improve on. The challenge I faced in evaluation wasn't communicating what the speaker did well. There are actually a lot of that. In fact, I think they really chose brilliant speakers, so brilliant that the challenge is to find the flaw, what improvement I can suggest. And in evaluation, especially in contests, it's a big no-no to say, in your speech, you're perfect. There's nothing I can recommend. Because number one, it's a disservice to the speaker. If there's anything he can do further to improve, you have to say it. He needs to know. And second is, this is the meat of the contest. Were you able to spot the things that he really needs to see and you really need to see? Or were you blinded by the brilliance of the speaker? Just two more to go. Third is, don't conform, stand out. In contests, chances are you'll have the same evaluation as the other contestants. You can say something about the contest, his delivery, the format that he used, but time and time again, evaluators have used a number of strategies to deliver memorable evaluators, using mnemonics, singing, using vocal variety, some unnecessary gestures. But when you think about your delivery, and you know that you're being judged, you have to put the speaker first. Before anything else, put the speaker first. How will you send him the message that he needs to hear? That should be your first priority. Now, about the specifics, I'm going to cite a particular case in point, mnemonics. I know a lot of people think that it impresses the judge and it's creative when you use mnemonic. There are pros and cons about using mnemonics. One is, well, the pro here is the judges, yes, you can actually, the judges will definitely feel that you exerted effort in it, but the con here is you're going to put a lot of ideas and share a lot of thoughts, and then you're going to limit it by putting the idea that you want in the letters of the word. So that is the con of using mnemonics. Now, fourth is mind your time. Like, I know I'm over time right now, just one more. I know that a lot of us have things to say. And we can point out a lot of nice things the speaker did or the speaker can improve on, but we don't want to sacrifice the time. Good thing I'm not in a contest right now. Because if we say all these important pieces of information and go over time, we automatically get disqualified. Now, I strongly recommend that you point out 2 or 3 best things that you can to highlight and 2 or 3 things that the speaker can improve on. Final note, I know we're all here to win. We're all here to stand out, give everything that we've got, but let's not let the spirit of winning be higher than our goal of providing helpful and constructive feedback, even in contests. Once that becomes top priority and we deliver that evaluation according to what we think is right, we can be assured that we've already won. That said, back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Wow, amazing. Amazing, Toastmaster Robbie. No wonder you were a speech champion, and we are very proud of your achievement. Just to recap what was mentioned by Toastmaster Robbie, actually, there are 3 things that we need to be in the lookout when we are doing speech evaluation: content, speech structure, delivery. And of course, you have to focus also on the things that's needed by the speaker to improve on, or STGO, something to grow on. Avoid superlatives. There is no perfection. There should always be an improvement. Don't conform, stand out. There are a lot of good evaluators, but you have to stick out from the minds of our judges. Highlight the speaker. It is the speaker's stage, so better put a show on that. It's not about you as an evaluator, but it's more on uplifting the speaker. 2 to 3 good things to improve on, and then you're way to go to become a speech champion. Let's all give a warm round of applause to our 3 speech titans. Let's give a warm round of applause to Distinguished Toastmaster Neb, Distinguished Toastmaster Julius, and of course, Toastmaster Robbie Lorenzo. A warm round of applause. That was an amazing sharing of Armory. Moving forward, for the part 2 of our learning event is called the Arena. On this juncture, we are going to throw to the pit one of our leaders, and of course, a sacrificial lamb who will deliver a draft speech, a draft masterpiece. Again, I'd like to mention it to everyone, a disclaimer, this is only a draft. So just imagine how it will be when it goes to the actual contest. And after the delivery of the speech, it will be evaluated, of course, by Toastmaster Robbie. Are you all ready to be part of the arena with our Division K Director Julius as our sacrificial lamb? Okay, type it on the chat box. Are you ready? Yes or no? Type it on the chat box. Are you ready to hear the draft speech of our Division K Director, Julius? Okay, amazing. Thank you for your participation. With a speech entitled An Invitation from Toastmaster Julius. From Toastmaster Julius with a speech entitled An Invitation. Take it away, Toastmaster Julius.
I woke up with a heavy feeling, like having hollow blocks on my chest. I felt that this was going to be another day where nothing extraordinary will happen. So I pulled up my blanket to cover my entire body up to my chin and decided to simply lie down on our soft yet comfortable bed. Thereafter, I decided to sleep again in order to complete episode 3 of my dreams entitled Waiting for the Exciting Extraordinary, as I hit the snooze button of my alarm clock. Friends, fellow Toastmasters, was there ever a time in your life wherein you felt that nothing extraordinary was happening? Once again, the alarm of my clock sounded off, and I realized it was 8 a.m. of a Saturday. But immediately upon waking up, an insight hit me on my head like a brick. I just opened two wonderful gifts, my eyes. And even though it was filled with a coarse morning glory, but hey, I can see. And I just saw two precious gifts, my beautiful wife and my wonderful son, who are still fast asleep. Right there and then I realized my eyes, my wife, and my son have been with me all of my life. But the question is, have I celebrated the beauty of their presence? To which divine grace whispered to my ears, Jojo, learn to celebrate the beauty of the ordinary. I then stood up from our bed, left our master's bedroom, decided to proceed downward to our stairs while holding the cold wall beside me in order to guide me. Thereafter, I proceeded to our kitchen in order to prepare my daily morning health drink, a cup of warm turmeric tea with minced raw garlic in it. I then reached out for our onion and garlic container in our cupboard, and immediately a frightened lizard jumped out of the container, which further woke me up. I then grabbed one bulb of garlic, took off one clove from it, reached out for a sharp knife beside me, and used the blade of the knife to press on the clove of garlic. Immediately, the pungent smell of the garlic filled the air, and I tried to smell myself just to make sure that it was not me. I then used the knife to finely chop the garlic, and thereafter I felt the minced garlic through my fingers. As I was chopping the garlic, I realized that, hey, this nutritious, powerful vegetable has been there, lying ordinarily in our cupboard. To which divine grace then whispered to my ears, Jojo, learn to celebrate the beauty of the ordinary. I then placed the minced garlic on my cup of warm turmeric tea and drank all the way my health concoction. As I was chewing the minced raw garlic, I felt the sting on my tongue, but I felt it with a smile, knowing that this health drink will benefit my health for sure. After that, I decided to take my morning shower. And yes, I take a bath daily. Had my hearty breakfast, and thereafter proceeded to my home office in the first floor of our house, while holding my favorite cup of coffee for my daily morning meditation. As I entered the room, I slammed close the door behind me, sat it in front of my laptop, placed my cup of coffee on my laptop table, and for some divine reason, I was made to look at my right side, where a huge window some 2 feet away from me can be found. I then veered through the window and was amazed with the beauty of the clear blue sky that was right above me. And as I was marveling at the beautiful blue sky, immediately a school of white fluffy clouds crossed the horizon. And that was further accentuated by the beautiful symphony of the chirping birds in my background. That scene reminded me of the beautiful European countryside, which I always see in the movies. Boy, that was such a wonderful scene. What more can I ask for from this? To which divine grace then whispered to my ears, Jojo, learn to celebrate the beauty of the ordinary. I heeded the reminder by grabbing my cup of coffee, drank it all the way, and I closed my eyes as I savor the beautiful moment. I then realized that right on that day, I just had 3 extraordinary moments. Number 1, I had my 2 beautiful eyes with my wife and my son alive. Number 2, I have my daily health morning drink. And number 3, I was enjoying my meditation process in the morning. And then it hit me like a brick on my head. All the while, what was worth celebrating can simply be found in the ordinary events of my life. Friends, are you going through your life right now feeling that nothing is worth celebrating? Fellow Toastmasters, in the day-to-day grind of your life, do you take time to appreciate the ordinary, savor it, and celebrate it? I would like to invite you to join me. And together in our respective day-to-day lives, let's take time to pause, celebrate, and appreciate the beauty of the ordinary. And we will learn that the ordinary is actually an extraordinary. Will you accept my invitation? Up to you, TM Ravel.
Wow. Wow, that was a draft speech. An invitation for everyone to savor the simplicity of life. And now, Toastmaster Julius, as part of our arena, you will be evaluated by Toastmaster Robbie Lorenzo. Take it away, Toastmaster Robbie.
Thank you very much, our dear Toastmaster of the day, DTM Julius. Learn to celebrate the beauty of the ordinary. Well, let me say, there was nothing ordinary about your speech. It was amazing, even for a draft. Now, what I love about your speech, other than the fact that you use story, message, gain very effectively. You told your story pretty well. You are a master storyteller. I tell you, there is nothing ordinary about your speech. Even if you were telling the audience about the ordinary things in your life, you took us there. It was filled with imagery and descriptions. And I also love how you used repetition in repeating your message. You even panned out and you used gestures really well to deliver your message. It was extraordinary, if I might add. Now, any perfect message and any perfect speech can still be made more perfect. So what I can do to help you further is mention 2 things. One is your vocal variety. I noticed that when you were telling us about your message and you were going near the camera like this, sort of like in a whisper, your vocal variety didn't change somewhat. So what you can do next time is probably whisper or make it softer next time so that we can identify if it is indeed a whisper that you're doing, or make it louder. There has to be a determinate change in your voice to make more impact. And second is you used your gestures pretty well, but because this is a draft, I noticed that this is not calculated because there were instances where you used your framing and you used the stage pretty well, but there were instances when you went here, but then it was unnecessary, so you went back in the middle. And I see you nodding, so I think we're on the same page in that regard. But that said, I think it was a really great speech and you were able to send your message really well. Congratulations, TM Julius. Again, for a draft speech, it was brilliant. That said, back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Robbie, for that empowering evaluation. And congratulations, DD Julius, for an amazing performance. For those who have joined us, you are here with Clash of the Speech Titans, organized by Division K of District 75 Philippines, together with our team of Speech Titans. We are now on our second part of the arena. We have finished the performance, the sample speech, and of course, an evaluation coming from one of our champions in Division K. Are you now ready for the next or the last segment of our learning event today? See, learning, today, was very fast-paced because the meat of the learning event will be coming in. But before we go to that, we are going to have some games. And of course, there will be special prizes just to breathe for a while, a refresher. And this will be led by Toastmaster Lara from Imus Wagayway Toastmasters Club. Toastmaster Lara, let's start.
Thank you very much, TMOD Ramed. Good morning, everyone. Are you all ready to participate in our game and take a breather? May I see a thumbs up, please? Thank you. Thank you. So here is how our game is going to work. So as you observe, our amazing speech titans share their insights on how we could win on this on the upcoming contest. And here's what we are going to do in our game for today. I want to hear some of your voices as you deliver short speeches. Our game is entitled Guess Who? What I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to flash lines from famous speeches, and I'm going to call random names, random participants, and ask them to deliver the speech with emotions, of course, and ask them to name who delivered that speech. And as promised, a prize will be sent to you. So are you ready? Let me share my screen for this. Oh, and by the way, if in case you are not able to identify the speaker of the speech, I'm gonna show the picture of the speaker, and that may help you identify who the speaker is. Okay, for our first line, famous line from a speech. May I call on Toastmaster Norma Blanco? Toastmaster Norma, would you please read the speech line in the screen?
In politics, if you want anything said, ask a man. If you want anything done, ask a woman. I don't know who's the author of the quotation or speech. I cannot recall.
So I'm going to show you the picture. Can you recall it now? Who delivered that speech?
No.
No. So Toastmaster Norma, that was Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher. But anyway, it's okay. Let's give a round of applause for Toastmaster Norma for trying. Next quote we have is, and would you like to volunteer someone or should I call again? Okay, let's try. How about Rodel Estira?
Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions.
So, do you know who spoke that line?
No, can't.
Oh, so I'm going to show you the picture. Now, you know who is?
What's the name of that?
Dalai
Lama? La?
Yeah, it's the Dalai Lama. Congratulations, Toastmaster. I got it right. Now, for the next Speech line. Let's see. Okay. Let's call on somebody from Area 1. How about Toastmaster Hernan Pagyo? Toastmaster Hernan, would you like to read the line aloud?
Yes, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. This is from John F. Kennedy.
Yes, you got it right. Congratulations. For the next, how about somebody from Division 2? Joel Hania, Toastmaster Joel Hania. Would you like to read the line?
Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, working together is success.
So, who delivered that famous line?
I think that comes from John Maxwell.
No. Okay. I think
That's Stephen Covey.
it's Henry Ford.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. For our next participant, somebody from Area 4. Area 4. Let's see. Toastmaster Abby. Abby Di Makulangan, would you like to read the lines?
Okay. There is
Okay.
not a liberal America. Hold on. Correct that on my camera. There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There's the United States of America. There's not a Black America and White America and Latino America, an Asian America. There's the United States of America. So since this is all America,
Yeah,
I think this is Barack Obama.
you got it right. Congratulations, Toastmaster Abby.
Thank you.
For the next, anybody would like to volunteer or should I pick again another participant? Okay, so can we hear it from Toastmaster Ramnel? Toastmaster Ramnel, are you there?
We shall fight on the beaches. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Hello? Do you hear
Yes, hello. Go on,
me?
please.
Mic test. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. Now, I have noticed the pattern. It's mostly American presidents. I'll make a wild guess and say that this is. I
I'm
forgot
gonna
the
show you the
name.
picture to make it easier.
No, I don't know him. Thank you for having me.
It's Winston Churchill. Toastmaster Alice got it right from the chat box. Next. Okay. Since Toastmaster Alice got it right, can I call on her? Toastmaster Alice, would you like to read this line?
Okay, I'll read it.
Yes.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
So Toastmaster Alice, do you know who delivered that line?
Was it Abraham Lincoln?
Yes, Toastmaster Alice, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yes. For our next line, can we call on, let's see. June, Toastmaster June Di Maano.
Okay, I'll read it.
Okay, please.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Was it John F. Kennedy?
No, but I'm gonna show you the picture to help you out.
Ah, sorry, I don't know.
It's Martin Luther King.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, great delivery, Toastmaster June.
Thank you.
For our next line, so let me see. Can we call on Eunice? Eunice Capili? Toastmaster Eunice?
I am not sure who said this. But the weapon you can use to change the world. I have no idea.
But can you please read it for us?
Education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world.
If I show you the picture, do you now know who delivered those lines?
Mandela. That's
Mandela.
Nelson Mandela.
It's Nelson Mandela, yes. Thank you, Toastmaster Eunice. Now for our last famous line from a quote. Would like to try? Any volunteer? Okay, so if there's none, then allow me to call on somebody. Let's see. Toastmaster Mercy Meriales. Toastmaster Mercy. Toastmaster Mercy, are you there? Oh, if Toastmaster Mercy is not there, how about Toastmaster I think we have a guest, Maria Teresa Chua. Miss Maria Teresa Chua.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like to try and read it and name who delivered that line? Okay, thank you.
Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. But I cannot guess who
But
said
if I
that.
show you the picture, for sure you will identify it.
I will try.
Yes?
Oh, that's Job.
Yeah, that's
Steve
Steve
Jobs. That's Steve Jobs.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster. And thank you all very much for participating in our game. And congratulations to all the winners. And I hope you learned a thing or two from those lines of speeches. And now, let's prepare ourselves as we all proceed to the next round, which is the most exciting part. So Toastmaster Ramed, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lara. Now let's move on to the part 3 of our learning event this morning. It's called The Clash. Are you ready? C for content, L for lead time, A for attitude, S for secrets, and of course, H for help. Now may we invite all our speakers to join us for our panel discussion. So we'd like to invite again distinguished Toastmaster Neb, Didi Julius, and of course Toastmaster Robbie Lorenzo. And for me, I was asked by our area director of Area 5, A.D. Rica, to share some insights about humorous speech. I've been a Toastmaster since 2006, and I'd like to, while we are, putting it all together, all the speakers coming in, I'd like to share to you some insights on how to win numerous speech contests. Well, where I came from in the Middle East, I'm a Filipino and I'm competing with different nationalities. So Indians have their own nuances, Arabs have their nuances, Europeans have their nuances, and we Filipinos have our own nuances when we talk about humorous speech. And it's really difficult. Probably what is laughable among Filipinos might not be laughable to our South Asian neighbors or probably to the Arabs. So it's really very difficult to tread on that thin line where you need to focus on in terms of your humorous speech contest masterpiece. Well, the secret probably is that you have to find the commonality among each of these cultures. Here in the Philippines, it's quite easy because we are all Filipinos. We know what makes us laugh. But in other countries, it's really difficult. And there is what you call a 1, 2, 3 punch. State the first line, then second, and then squeeze the third, or what we call that, the punchline. There are things that are expected of a certain situation, but of course, there are things that might not be what the audience expect, and that might be the cause for them to laugh with you. Of course, there's a difference between laughing at you and laughing with you. So you need to focus on laughing with the audience. So you have to make sure that you gather your audience at your side and then make sure that that piece resonates with them. And it's the same thing like what Didi Julius mentioned a while ago. Content, someone that resonates to your audience, and of course add value. But the value in humorous speech is just to entertain everyone, make them laugh. RFOL, especially now that we are in the virtual world. So that's just a quick tidbits about humorous speech. And of course, I think the timing also is very important. You need to make sure that you are in the middle of the pack, not on the first number nor on the last. Because, you know, when people are watching at you during humorous speech contest, their energy is like picking up. And then when a contestant who's very good, then that's the time that they will benchmark their laughing experience, and then it will die down. So you have to make sure that you are part of the parabola where you are on the middle of the pack. If not, then chances are you are screwed. So there will be a lot of effort that you need to push hard for your humorous speech. And I think that's it. It's the same thing like what the others are mentioning a while ago. But the difference is your goal is to entertain your audience. And now let's move on with the clash. Now I have here some of our talking points that was given to us by our event organizer. A while ago, Distinguished Toastmaster Neb mentioned about, it's not about your story. It's all about your message. That's from the perspective in terms of content from DTM Neb. How about Distinguished Toastmaster Julius? What's your tip in selecting content for your masterpiece?
In my case, Temramed, it all goes back to what experience do I have that can add value to the audience? So it always points back to the audience, because I can list down more than 50 to 100 experiences, but if that experience cannot add value to the audience, then it's not a candidate for me to be a winning speech. Because I would like to share this. I learned this from TMNet. TMNet told us before that the most important component of public speaking is not the speaker, but the public. So it's always about the public. What is that message that you have that can resonate with the public, with the audience? So once again, it is my experience, TM Bramed, that can add value to the audience. Back to you, TM Bramed.
Thank you so much, Didi Julius. It's more on relatability. I think you were mentioning that your message or probably your story, everyone can relate to. Do you agree on that, Toastmaster Robbie?
Yes, I definitely agree about the relatability. And I agree that it's not the speaker who's the star of the moment. It's the audience, because a lot of people mistake that the speaker is the star. not just in contests, in every speaking engagement, in every event, it's the audience who's the star. Because if the speaker is not relatable, then the speaker will not make so much impact, and the message will not be felt. The message is just there. If you are not able to share that message to the public, then it will be for naught. So definitely agree.
Okay. Now, in terms of content, are there no-nos or things that we should avoid in terms of choosing our topic? DTM Neb.
No, any topic can be used, but it's actually the delivery of the topic. You can choose a very controversial topic, but for as long as you don't attack the opposite sector. So if you have a very strong stand on one point and not attack the other one, you can deliver any topic. So it is also advisable though to not talk about sex, politics, and religion for that specific reason. It's not advisable when you're new because you might be inadvertently attacking another person. But if you are used to it, no topic is limited.
Well, in terms of content, thank you so much, DTM Neb. Yes, sex, politics, religion is a big no-no. But the question is, how about adopting or copying world champion for public speaking topics as one of your content for your contest masterpiece? What's your take on that, Didi Julius?
That's a good question, cameraman. I always believe in the power of authenticity. You know, John Maxwell in his book, Everyone Communicates If You Connect, always emphasizes that the only way that you can connect is if you are authentic. Because the audience can sense that if you are authentic or not. So my take, I do not believe in copying the topics, the speeches of other people. You are uniquely you, and that is your superpower. Leverage on your unique life experience.
Okay, thank you, DTM Nev, of course, originality. By the way, we are going to entertain questions from our audience later on. We are going to open the floor for some questions. And of course, we have gathered some of your important questions during the registration of the participants. Now, since we are anything more on content, any topic, well, in terms of humorous, if I may share, most of the topics that we are choosing, especially if you're working abroad, is self-deprecating humor. You know, most of the time, like when I was in Saudi Arabia, my topic was about losing weight. And I think this is not original, but I think you know about it, that, you know, I am into seafood diet. Every time I see food, I eat it. It's laughable, right? So it depends on who you are pointing to in terms of your masterpiece. You know, one important topic also in terms of content that is very popular among humorous speech champion is how one culture is relating to the other. Like, for example, among Indians, every time I ask my Indian friends, do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? I never knew that swaying your heads left and right means yes. So that was a 30-minute discussion just for asking whether someone agrees on me or not. So those are the things. So you have to know the culture. The yes for Indians is like this. The yes for us is this. So there's always, you know, do you agree? Do you agree? Okay, so we are going to entertain. So those things, clashes of cultures in terms of body gestures, in terms of language use, is also one, you know, one way of probably stimulating humor among your international audience. Now let's move on with L, which is lead time. And this is quite a controversial topic. We have different ways of doing things. What might be workable for me might not be workable for others. So DTM Neb, what is your lead time for doing your speech project or probably your contest masterpiece?
Contest masterpiece would take a long time. You cannot really deliver it immediately. So meaning if I join a division contest tomorrow, my speech won't win because I don't have it yet. However, my idea of creating a contest speech is not written, it is rewritten. So at the club level, it can be done the night before. So that is a risk you'll be taking if someone prepared for it. So basically, start anytime you need to, and then improve upon it every single step of the way. So when I join club contest, I'll be honest with this, I usually prepare it the night before. If there is no club contest and there's area contest, the reason why I lost the 2 area contests before was that, I'll be honest, I was reading off a script. I haven't had it memorized at the area level, so I lost at that area level. But then again, that was because the lead time of preparing for it was very short. But from area to division to district, you will have to improve on it every step of the way.
Okay, so probably for procrastinators like me, it might not work. But but now, other than that, how about you, TM Robbie? What's your take on lead time? Do you usually prepare like months, or like DTM Neb mentioned, a night before? What works for you?
Good thing to mention is when I spoke with Verity Price, with DTM Verity Price in an interview, she mentioned that if you're going to target world championship of public speaking, let's say club contest is January, you should have already prepared for it 3 months prior. So you have to have at least 3 months of preparation with the content, with the delivery. And I'm also guessing that you should already have shown your piece or delivered it to a few clubs. So I guess that's the ideal, about 3 months for club level. But I also agree with DTM Neb that it's not just written, it's rewritten. Because I remember when I joined the international contest for club level, I wrote it about 3 days prior, and I only delivered it. I only practiced it one time. But club level is different from let's say district level. So if that got through, that speech of mine got through club level, I'm pretty sure if I didn't practice and if I didn't have a panel of mentors in our shindigs and I didn't deliver it to clubs, I wouldn't get past area level and then division level. And there's going to be a lot of changes in that speech that I did. So it's okay to write your speech a day before, but you have to make sure that if you win, and when I'm going to say when you win, you have to polish it so that it would be good for area, for division, and then for district.
Okay, thank you so much, TM Robbie. I think the key word that we need to inculcate in the minds of our audience also is that preparation is the key. Whether you are winging it a day or a night before, you have to make sure that you have to continuously polish your masterpiece. What could be good for at this level could be improved later on. How about, let's discuss about attitude. What is the proper mindset DD Julius of winning or losing? Because probably a lot of people were putting a lot of expectations for everyone. Like, for example, you're representing the area, you need to get the championship trophy, and then when you won, you go to the division. You won the division, so you have to make sure that District 75 trophy will be ours. So what is the correct mindset, DD Julius?
Wow, pressure. Well, this touches based on what I mentioned earlier. Although, yes, all of us would want to win, right? All of us would want to receive trophies and plaques and medals. But at the end of the day, what really matters is whether your message has added value to the listeners. I always go back to that. I always go back to my why. I mean, why am I joining the contest in the first place? Of course, I would want to win. But more than that, I see every level, let's say club level, as an opportunity to add value to the listeners. Then I go to the area level, there's a broader audience, another opportunity to add to a broader audience. Then goes the division level and the district level. It's the same philosophy. For me, winning will follow as a result, not the end, but the result of being sincere to your mission of adding value to the audience. If you win, okay, that's good. If you do not win, the important thing is, did your message add value to the audience? For me, that's more than medals. That's more than any trophies that I can receive, because if I hear a testimony from someone that my message just positively impact his life, his or her life, then that is worth more than trophies and medals. So that would be my take, TM Rabbit.
Thank you so much, DD Julius. How about DTM Neb representing the whole Philippines and the pressures on your back? Can you share to us what is the right mindset or right attitude?
I look at it in two ways, and I'll let the audience choose which way they prefer for it. For me, there can only be one winner, and there's no question on that. I have to accept that. So whatever level I compete in, there will always be just one winner. But if for my part, it's on a personal level, uh, I learn it each time. And I've been fortunate to have reached district level multiple times, but I've not won world championship yet. That's the thing. I've learned each step of the way, each time I compete, I learn. So that's one side I look at it. The other is the pressure. For some, the pressure can be crumbling or the pressure can be sustaining. For me, actually, pressure was really good. So I thrive in pressure. So when people tell me that you're carrying the weight of the club, the area, the division, that was good for me. But if it's not good for you, don't think about it. So I let the audience choose. If pressure is good for you, use the pressure to improve, to really drive you. But if pressure is bad for you, then look at it in a way that is positive for you. What can you learn in this? And then, as what Toastmaster Julius said, what can you teach the audience when you deliver your speech? So yeah, select your mindset that would help you improve in your speech. That's really my message that I'd like to give.
Okay. Thank you, DTM Neb. By the way, since a lot of Filipinos are behind your back when you competed in the World Championship for Public Speaking, how do you deal with unsolicited feedbacks coming from a lot of people?
That's really good, especially when you reach the higher levels. You will always receive unsolicited feedback. And if you are new to it, it can be overwhelming. And my suggestion would be to have a panel of mentors. Let them filter it for you. Not all advice is good. They're all well-meaning, but they're not all good. So have a panel of mentors do that. Eventually, on my second time I was doing it, it became easier to filter it out. For me, I actually intentionally present in clubs where I know that the feedback would be hostile to numb me from it. There was a test that Toastmaster Noel had me do, and I did it, but I delivered in a public place. No one was listening. And yeah, that really removed all the pressure from me because I delivered at the SM Mega Mall food court. Yeah, I delivered it once. It was fun. I didn't record it. No one gave me no. Well, some people were looking at me. They thought I was crazy, probably, but that was okay. After delivering that, everything else was easy.
Okay, thank you, DTM Neb. So far, what we have discussed is C, content, L for lead time, A is for attitude, and S is, of course, we want to draw out the secrets. Are there any secrets to become a speech titan or to become a speech champion? Let's start with TM Robbie. TM Robbie, are there any secrets?
I don't have any secrets. From what I remember, what I did last TM year, I always have a fisherman's friend with me, if you're familiar with lozenges, because my mouth gets really dry. And of course, this is our superpower. So I always eat fisherman's friend. And of course, prayer. That's the biggest secret and superpower that I have. Always prayer. So win or lose, I know I have God on my side. And of course, I have a panel of mentors. So I have to select who I listen to. Of course, the mentors that I have, some of them, so I have to follow the advice that I feel would benefit my speech, because not all of the pieces of advice I get are the same. Some are conflicting. So I have to pick which one I would have to follow. But that's the thing that I remember with regard to my secret when winning the contest.
How about beauty secrets? Like, do you put a cold pipino on your eyes a day before the contest, or do you put a lot of moisturizing cream so that in the virtual world you look, or probably some shades of eyeshadows? Do you have
Funny
any beauty?
thing that for women, of course, we have to put on makeup. Oh, it has to be, of course, I don't know about the men if they would agree, but it has to be formal, just like this. In terms of wearing costumes, in the club level, there were some speakers who wore costumes. I tend to stir away from wearing costumes because it would drive them away from my message. It would focus more. They would focus more on the costume or what I'm wearing rather than my message. Of course, I have to put on makeup because I'm a woman. The men, I don't know if they wear makeup, but I have to just make it as formal as possible. Not really bland, but my focus here is focus on my message. Focus on what I'm going to say, not how I look.
Okay, thank you, TM Robbie. How about DD Julius? How about the use of props as secrets? Remember, there came an era where from a cigarette, from petals, and so many things, there were a lot of props that were used during the World Championship for Public Speaking. What's your take on that, DD Julius?
I have nothing against the use of props, only that it must be done in a purposeful way. The props must be used to amplify the message and not take away the attention of the audience from the message or from the speaker going to the props. So that means it must be enough in terms of amount, and it must be relevant to the speech. As long as it helps accentuate the message, then I have no problem with it. But if it is more of something that convolutes the message, then for me, better not to use any props if it will take the attention of your audience away from the message and from the speaker.
Now
If
that
I
we
may
are,
add,
yes.
yeah, sorry,
go
if
ahead.
I may add with regard to using props, because in the international speech last year, I used props. So there is actually there are pros and cons when using props. So when we're using props, we have to make sure that we've practiced, because it can either add value, or if not properly done, it can be to the detriment of the speech. So you have to know where you place the props, who you're getting it from, or I also understand that in contests you should not be assisted. No person should assist you. So you have to know where you're getting the props, what you look like when you're holding the props, and when you're putting it back, you also have to, well, we're online, so you have to record yourself when you're putting away the props, because it may look bad, and then the attention would go to the props again. Back to you, TM.
Okay.
Can I add on props? Would it be
Sure,
okay?
sure. DTM Neb, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Here is the advice I got and I use when I use props. It's very simple, actually. Deliver your speech without a prop and deliver your speech with a prop, and ask your audience, did it really add something? If the audience agrees that it adds something to it, keep it. If it doesn't really add, it's the same. You could have this and it already understands that it's a check. You don't really need to show a check. So deliver it both. Even on the delivery style, one practice I do is I deliver it just reading the speech. If the audience were laughing or were really excited about it, then adding something to the delivery would actually also improve it. So do it twice and then ask your audience which one is more effective, or if adding props really added to your message or not.
Okay, I think that's very important. Do it purposively. Now, let's move on with H for help. What help do you need, or are you willing to help others? By the way, there's a question from the audience. Since we are in the virtual world, do you recommend specific tools, like, for example, a good camera, a good audio, a good background? Should I use a green screen during the contest, etc.? So how about online contests? Because right now, I've seen it. I think 2 years ago, one of the contestant or the champion, I forgot the name, he was using a lot of theatrics. So from left and then moving to the right and then going there. So they're just like playing on the screen. So how about our Titans from Division K? What are your tips, Didi Julius, in terms of the virtual contest?
Well, from my end, I would simply say just appear decent. I mean, at least have a reasonable sound system, have a clear video platform, and that's it. I mean, you don't need all those expensive stuff to really increase your chances of winning. Once again, at the end of the day, it's about your message, how your message resonates with the audience. The power of your message can overcome the flashiness of all those high-tech gadgets. So that's my take, Tim Robin.
But some of those winners were really amazing on screen. They were using a lot of TV broadcasting quality audio and camera. So what's your take on that, TM Robbie? Do we really need to invest money on virtual world, or should we leave it because sooner or later we'll have the face-to-face?
Funny question, but it's very much relevant. When I started with the club contest, I only have my laptop, and I think I used the mic that I have. But before that, I watched TM Rafiq. TM Rafiq gave this advice. He used only his phone and the mic on his phone. So he didn't really invest on a lot of gadgets. So I tried that because he said that the mic on our phone is much more audible. It's much better than any mic that we have out here. So what I did was I did a lot of testing. I tested with my laptop's mic, I tested with my camera's mic, and I went with what I was comfortable with. So I went with the mic that I had. But then I won club level, and then my mentor said, the mic that I had was a condenser mic, and it was really distracting because it was like this. So this is me, and then this is the mic. So they focus on the mic, and it actually comes with my job. I also do a lot of webinars, and I said to myself, I am going to invest in a mic that I'm also going to use in my job or my day-to-day life. So I had to invest. But my advice for people who are not really gonna use it for for every day and just for the contests is weigh on it. Is it something that I really want to do? And don't buy something that you haven't tested. You also have to source, or also have to benchmark and talk to a lot of people. We have a lot of Toastmasters members who are using mics, not using mics. Talk to a lot of people before you buy devices. Back to you, TM.
Thank you, TM Rob. I think TM Neb, DTM Neb, you want to add on that?
Sure. For me, the equipment, my advice is always this: get the best that you can. Get the best equipment that you can get your hands on, and no more than that. What I mean is, you don't really need to invest. It's whatever you have, use the best of what you have, and not really have to buy anything. If you have a friend that you can borrow it, then borrow it for the contest. And however, I also agree in one point: there has to be at least a minimum. What do I mean by minimum? Internet access would be really important. That's why when I was contest chair last year, my advice is make sure that you have good internet access, and ask everyone from your house not to use the internet at the time that you're delivering your speech, because all things being equal, winners are selected by inches, not miles. So what do I mean by this? If you have really good speech, everyone in your category also has really good speech, but you have terrible internet access, then you will lose, because contests are won by inches. So there has to be a minimum, but get the best that you can without really spending too much on it.
Okay. On that note, thank you so much. We'd like to entertain some questions from our audience. We have a raise of hand from our Ma'am Alice, Toastmaster Alice Fernandez. You want to ask a question?
Sorry, I'm not raising my hand.
Okay. So, sorry. So let's move on to our area director of K4, Area 4, from AD Joseph Duran. Is there any physical activity, exercise that we can do to prep ourselves for our speeches? Like, Zumba, yoga meditation, or anything? How about you, DD Julius? Do you do some physical activity?
I usually run 5 kilometers before my actual speech. I'm just kidding. No, not really. My minimum requirement is I should have a good sleep. Number one. Number two, I should have a hearty breakfast if the contest is after breakfast. And other than that, well, to add, I don't drink. I'm a coffee lover, but I don't drink much coffee during the actual contest day because it makes me go back and forth to the comfort room. But other than that, the amount of sleep that I have is enough to prepare me for the contest proper. Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from our audience.
May I add to that?
Sure.
This is a very good contrast to what Toastmaster Jill just said. He has a hearty breakfast if the contest is after breakfast. I don't eat. And I am a coffee lover, and before a contest, I drink lots of coffee. So the real message here is you have to try it several times and see what works for you best. And then eventually, so I know some people who jump up and down and sing, do Zumba. That's true. I drink plenty of coffee. I don't eat before a competition, but before a competition, if it's 15 minutes before a contest, I crunch in a corner, isolated from everyone else, because that's how I restore my energy. And I see other people in the same area jumping up and down and singing. So you have to find what works for you, and you'll be able to use whatever works for you.
Okay, thank you, DTM Neb. There's one question from the audience that was sent during the registration. And the question was, how to best deliver a speech that engages the audience and not appear like it's a highly rehearsed show? How do you do that, TM
May I do
Robby?
that? May I do this, because this is really good. For a contest, it's not advisable to do so. Well, why? Not just for online, even on physical competitions. You can never control what the audience does. You have control on stage, but you can never predict what happens. But if you really want the audience to participate, you have to practice it. And if you notice, here's my advice on audience participation. If you don't get your results 80% of the time of your practice, don't do it 100% of the time in the contest actual. So it's very critical on this. If you practice it, and then you only get half the time it's successful, then don't do it in the contest, because that is a very high risk of failing in the competition.
Okay, so I think we're just I think we'll entertain 2 to 3 more questions. What is the recommended time % allocation for each part of the speech, such as opening, body, and closing? This is from Area Director of Area 1, Wally Peña. Percentage allocation, because we have observed that a lot of people were just occupying a lot of time, and that was just only for the introduction. So what is the correct allocation of percentage, like for your opening, your body, and your closing?
For me, well, it differs per speaker, I guess. But what I do is 10%, 80%, 10%. 10% intro, because you only need just about a few lines, 2 to 3 sentences for your introduction. As long as it has that hook, that should be enough. And then put everything in your body, and then you have to make a memorable conclusion. So about 2, 3 sentences for the conclusion. It should be enough, as long as you have that hook in the beginning and that unforgettable conclusion. 10, 80, 10 for me. How about the others?
Okay. Yes, of course. And then I move on to the second to the last question? What is the exclusive? Is there anything like what you call an X factor among public speakers? Because during speech contests, when you are watched by millions or probably hundreds, there's already I'm not sure how do you call that, but there's a certain glow that when that speaker speech, already that there's a certain charisma, and for a fact that this might win it all in all. So what's your take on that, TM Neb? Do you believe on that? The X factor?
Yes, I believe it, but at the same time, I also know that it is trained. What do I mean by this? I've been called a funny speaker by a lot of evaluators, by a lot of people, but that is something that wasn't natural for me. I had to really practice it. I had to develop it. And yes, there is what you call an X factor. You can do it, but uh, some people are born gifted speakers, born funny, born really excellent people, and I hate them as much as you do, but they can be trained. It can be developed with a lot of time. So that's a thing. There is an X factor. I agree with it, but for 99% of speakers with X factor, they didn't get it naturally. It had to be trained. They had to consciously train for it to get it.
And on that note, thank you for your participation. We'd like to ask for some final words from our speakers before we go for the closing portion of our program. For a fact, during the pre-pandemic period, the contest season has been very different. Then the virtual world came. Now for a contestant that it's still like for, I think this will become a hybrid contest. A hybrid contest, some will be live, some I'm not sure what will be there will be a lot of uncertainties yet. So what are your final words for our future champion speakers? Let's start with our division director, Julius.
Yes, let me share my final words in the context of one question that I always get from the perspective of a winning table topic speech. The question is, when do you start preparing for a table topics contest? And I would like to give my final message by answering that question. To answer that question, you start preparing for a table topics contest yesterday. What do you mean by that? If you would want to join the table topics contest, you should take your time every day to evaluate your day-to-day experiences. Because it is coming from that evaluation that you'll be able to extract nuggets of wisdom that you can use to amplify your message whenever delivering your table topic speech. So table topics, the beauty behind table topics is that it's very much ingrained in our day-to-day living, as long as you take time to evaluate your day-to-day experience. Then once you have those treasure chest of wisdom points, you can always draw from it the moment that you'll be faced with a talking point that you need to expound on. So my final message, it is not experience, but evaluated experience, which is the best teacher. And if you want to join the table topics contest, start preparing now, today, by taking time to evaluate your day-to-day experience. Thank you very much. Back to you, TM Ramid.
Thank you so much, Didi Julius. How about in terms of evaluation? Final words from Toastmaster Robbie Lorenzo.
I'm going to copy the words of Division Director Julius. It's not experience, but evaluated experience that matters, where we're learning from. And in terms of evaluation, final words, it's not us, it's not the judges, it's the speaker that we need to evaluate. So how we evaluate should be how we want to be evaluated. How do you want to be evaluated? And if you really want to add value to yourself, you need as much evaluation as you can. Think of that. And when you start evaluating people, know what they really need to hear and not just what they want to hear, then that makes all the difference. And we're already winners. I know there's only one winner from TMNet, that there can only be one winner, but the mere fact that we joined a contest and we've learned a lot from it, it already makes us winners from the lesson that we gain from the experience. Back to you, TM Ramid.
Wow, amazing. So from another perspective, now representing the Philippines before, final words, DTM Neb.
In terms of preparation for a speech contest, I mentioned earlier, world-class speeches aren't written, they are rewritten. But the harder part on it is rewriting it. So my final words is, if you are joining a competition, identify your goal. Some goals are better than others, but it doesn't matter because your goal is your goal. Whether you want to be a better speaker, whether you want to improve your public speaking skills so that you deliver it better outside, or you simply want to deliver a message. Whatever your goal is, that will be your motivating factor to rewrite your speech. If you find yourself not wanting to rewrite your speech, reevaluate your goals. Why are you here? So that you'll have the motivation again. Hey, I need to write my speech to make it better. So always find your goal. That is your start when you deliver your speech. If your goal is to win World Championship of Public Speaking, then let it be. So find your goal when you deliver your speech.
Wow, amazing. Let's all give a warm round of applause to our panelists, DTM Neb, DD Julius, and of course, TM Robbie Lorenzo. Amazing. Now, moving on, we'd like now to award the certificates of appreciation to our panelists and of course to our webinar players this morning. Our tech team, please flash our certificates. And of course, we have DD Julius also to award the certificate with us. Okay, so flash it now. So by the way, while we are working on flashing on the screen, so here's the certificate. So this certificate of appreciation is proudly presented to the name and recognition of proudly contribution on the as a speaker during the Division K Clash of the Speech Titan. And of course, Director Julius, we're virtually handing over the certificate to, first, the distinguished Toastmaster, Neb Perez. A warm round of applause, please. Next is, certificate of appreciation is virtually handed to, of course, our Division Director, TM Julius Cruz. Warm round of applause, please. And of course, certificate of appreciation is handed to, virtually, to Toastmaster Robbie Lorenzo. A warm round of applause. Okay, thank you so much, TM Robbie, for sharing your time. Is that all? Okay, so thank you, everyone. Oh, of course. Oh, there was a certificate for me. Okay, so another certificate to your moderator, distinguished Toastmaster. That's me. And I'm very happy to be serving you. And before we move on and we move forward, we have our on the chat, the event evaluation survey. And of course, at this juncture, we'd like to call on our program quality director, Toastmaster Mix, for some important announcement before we wrap up today's event. And of course, don't forget, after the announcement, there will be a big raffle. Toastmaster Mix, take it away.
Okay, so good morning, K-Vengers. Can I have a thumbs up or a virtual sign? So for us to award our most active Toastmasters for our event, for the 5 events in this Division K. First is Miss Sheena Jane O. Intacto from Area 1 Amplian Expert Toastmaster Club. Let's give her a round warm of applause. Next is Mr. Enriquez Pilacnedi from Area 1 Amplian Experience Toastmasters. Miss Lenny Villaflores Constantino, Area 4 AD Phils Toastmaster Club. We have Marilyn Mariales from Area 4 AD Phils Toastmaster Club. We have Araceli A. Gumagan, Area 4 AD Phils Toastmaster Club. TM President Isabel Isagan, Area 1 Laguna Toastmaster Club. President Jean Lopo, Area 1 Mabuhay Toastmasters, and TM Kimberly Harding from Area 1 Amplian Expert Toastmaster Club. These are the most active Toastmaster in the division. It depends on the evaluation form that you'll answer in our chat box. So for our next, so these are the awards that can be getting for this Toastmasters year, for next year. So we'll have a lot of awards and recognition for next year. So stay tuned. Back to you, Toastmaster Ramed.
Thank you so much, PQD Migs. Now, let's have a raffle before we proceed with our closing ceremony. Now, let me have the virtual roulette. Of course, the evaluation The evaluation link will be shared on the chat box. Make sure that if you want to have a free membership fee for the next year, next program year, be an active Toastmaster for Division K and participate all our learning activities. So we'd like to request our tech team to share the evaluation link on the chat box as well. Make sure that you fill it up and then make sure that your response count. And now it's raffle time. What are the prizes at stake for the Clash of the Speech Titans? There will be 3 prizes. The first prize will be a Toastmaster. The third place is a Toastmaster Tote Everyday Bag. The second one is 1 piece of copper mask. And of course, the first is, of course, a Toastmasters laptop bag. Okay, let's start with the Tote Everyday Bag. Merry Christmas, everyone! Okay, for our winners, make sure that you give your contact details to our PRD Yang and make sure that you claim your prizes. By the way, or probably give your contact details first. We will take care of the delivery of your prize absolutely free. So make sure that you give your contact details from your mobile phone, your address, and of course, your complete name. Next one, for the 1-piece copper mask. I like the music. Merry Christmas. I feel like Santa Claus. The winner is Walfredo Peña. Congratulations. You just won 1 piece of copper mask. And of course, for our top prize for this webinar event is a Toastmasters laptop bag. Oh, Merry Christmas, everyone. Joanne Alavazo. Joanne Alavazo. So congratulations to all our winners. Make sure that you give your contact details to PRD Yang, complete contact details, and we will take care of the delivery. And it will be absolutely free, no charge to you, courtesy of our Division K team. And before we move on with our closing remarks, we'd like to invite first everyone to open your camera and flash your winning smile for our family photo for the Clash of the Speech Titan documentation. Okay, open your camera, open your video, and let's flash your winning smile. Who's taking the photo? Okay.
1, 2. Ako po. 1, 2, smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait. Second page, smile. 1, 2, 3. Smile, please open your camera, please. Okay. Last panel.
Last panel.
Smile. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, PQD Migs. Now, for our closing remarks and of course for the adjournment of the meeting, this afternoon will never be possible without the leadership and of course the contribution of everyone. We worked together and we made this possible. We put all the speech titans together, and to formally close our program, please welcome back Didi Julius Cruz.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ahmed, for that vibrant, engaging, and passion-filled hosting of our event for this morning. Love it. I love it. It is said that learning is a journey without a finish line. And I am blessed this morning because I am with you all who are really making time to be part of this journey wherein together we will grow to reach our maximum potential and become the best version of ourselves. I would like to encourage everyone to really take hold of all the learnings and most especially apply the learnings in our Toastmasters everyday life. Because the only way for us to succeed is if we do the right things in our day-to-day lives. So let's apply the learnings, and I would like to see all of you reach the stage in the district level and be one of the champions in prepared speech, table topics, evaluation, and humorous speech contests. So once again, thank you very much, everyone, especially to the project team behind this wonderful event. And let's go and be speech titans in our own right. Congratulations, well done, and may we all have a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Back to you, TM Ramed.
So we can segue now to our adjournment. Didi Julius?
Yes, and by the power vested on me by Toastmasters International as Director of Division K under District 75 with a Titan's might, I now declare our learning event for this morning as officially closed. Thank you very much, everyone, and happy Saturday. And I would like to request the project team to please stay behind. Project team, you know who you are. All of the people who made this event possible, please stay behind.